Good and happy Sunday morning. Hello. Happy Halloween month. Dawn is grabbing some toothpicks for stirring and mixing her paints right now. We're going to go ahead and get started, though. Hopefully it's going to be too hard to find them.
Nope, I got him.
Ruby, we just got them. And like toothpicks seem to do around here, they disappeared.
Well, I mean, I knew where they were, but my main thing was, like, I also knew that I had a giant box of, like, 5,000 coffee stirrers, which, was super cheap, and I would rather use those, but I couldn't find them.
Rock Van is painting too. That's awesome. So this morning we are going to be painting the giant, or the Dragonborn giant.
Dragonborn giant.
Mini Monster Mayhem. Yeah, it's a great model.
It's from his release, Upon the Shoulders of Giants. I think that's the name of it. It's relatively. That's
it. That's the picture I actually put in Discord to let everybody know we were starting.
I wasn't sure if I had it have an extra S on one of the words or not. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, I'm not positive, but I know it's around there.
If you did, I missed it.
Like, I don't know if it's Upon the Shoulder of Giants or Upon the Shoulders of Giants. Basically, what.
Yeah, I think it's shoulders. Yeah, it's shoulders.
Shoulders. Okay. No, it was a great release. And
that's why I put the whole thing in Discord so that all of our folks could see, like, all of the cool biggies in there.
Yeah, that's really what it is. It's like it's just a bunch of biggies. And this is the Dragonborn giant, and then I have this is the unarmored version, which is actually not photographed. He didn't make a render of the unarmored version. I guess he thought everyone would want the armored version.
Yeah, I was speaking armored, unarmored. Next Saturday, you're going to be painting the armored version of that bat, and is that from Mini Monster Mayhem?
No, this is actually from Lord of the Prince release for this month. I forget, Immortals, the Blood of Immortals, or Immortal Blood, something like that. I forget the name. But this is the unarmored version of the bat, the strike pose, because there's multiple poses. So I printed this one because I wanted to paint it because it's amazing. But I forgot, or I didn't pay attention to the fact that there was two different versions, because, again, he only did a render of the armored version, so I didn't even realize there was a second version.
I mean, I would probably assume the same thing if I were them.
So on here, on the armored version, there's literally plates that go down his back, and then a helm that goes over his head. So the plates, let me see if I can reach over here, are very similar aesthetically to the plates that he did on this guy. This is Famine, which I'm about to hurt Famine, because Famine is actually...
Yeah. He's like the tiniest piece of the whole thing.
He's the tiniest piece of the whole thing. But the armored plates that he did on the bat version are very aesthetically similar to this. They're stacked like this, but they're larger, longer sections like this one. And they kind of go down, and then he's got the helm that goes on. So
next Saturday we'll be doing that because Ghosty spent points.
Alter the stream points.
Alter the stream points. Thank you. We'll be doing. What we'll also be doing today, while Dawn paints this Dragonborn giant.
I mean, I can point at it.
I'll point at it. You paint. We're also going to be working on crowd forging Skellum Hills and Wastam City, which are actually off of the plane. The plane is kind of like what we call the project. Honestly, I don't know when we start releasing this material. Are we going to call it the plane? Are we going to call it Ethar? I don't know. Honestly, don't know. And we've got time, so I'm not going to try to push it yet.
Right.
But obviously, there are things that aren't on the plane that we develop.
Yeah, because, I mean, and even then, we're literally only talking about Miradolal, but Kethar is the planet. No, I have that backwards.
Yeah, I mean, we don't know if there's...
Do I have that backwards?
No, Kethar is the planet.
Kethar is the planet.
Mm-hmm. Meridolal is the
continent. So we're still, I mean, this is a giant freaking planet, and we're only talking about this one place.
Even after 3,000 years, they don't know all the mysteries of Meridolal.
I mean, how long have we been here? We don't know all the mysteries of here either.
Right, yeah. We know more about outer space than the deep sea on our own planet.
Yeah. So
that's what we're going to be talking about today. Switch over to that just to give everybody a little idea. So where Skellum Hills and Wastam City are coming from is this month for subscribers. We introduced this area. It's probably going to be all kinds of messed up. I forgot to get ready to share a browser and show this.
Maybe, the map?
Yeah, maybe we'll look out. Let's see.
Boom, it exploded.
We did look out. Okay, so to give you a place in the world of where Skellum Hills is, and I haven't shown this to Dawn yet.
The map maker.
The map maker, right. I figure you'll know when I tell you we got to make another map. So if you look right here on the end, at the top end of this L on Dalal, I love that you guys can see my pointer.
I know, right?
Right around here is where Skellum Hills is going to be, and it's pretty big. What are you?
I've said, look down there.
Oh, on the picture.
I'm just being silly.
So
I'm stirring paint, and it's really boring.
Oh, I don't know.
It's annoyingly clicky too.
So the Skellum Hills are right about here, reaching down just a little past the top of that L. Then right around here, the southern tip, again around that L, the southern edge of the Skellum Hills is where Wastam City is. Good morning, Nate, the adventurer.
Hi, Nate.
We are doing well. So
I'm stirring paint.
So our Halloween month story for our newsletter for subscribers this month has a different kind of campfire story. It's really more of a short story. We're arguing over which book it's going to go in, campfire stories or short story. We'll figure it out. So the story takes place with some hunters and trappers that live full-time in the hills. The interesting thing is, even though this is a fairly dangerous, Cathar is a dangerous place to live, but Skellum Hills is one of those hot spots that's really pretty interesting, dangerous. Oh, see, I'm not going to be able to repeat myself. Each one of those, you see, Dawn just put paintbrushes in her hair. She's just planning for me to repeat myself. So we place the story in the hills with those trappers, and the interesting thing about trappers in places like this, trappers, hunters, people that live out sort of middle of nowhere, they don't live in a town or a city. Not so much the farmers, but other people that do this. They don't have like walls and stuff around their steads. They actually just sort of build in other mechanisms to protect them. PT Lowry, hello.
Hi, PT.
Saying good morning. Oh, feeling congested. I'm sorry. I hope you feel better.
That's not fun.
No. My allergies are kicking my butt. I'm like in and out of congestion last 2 weeks, it seems like.
Yeah, actually yesterday I walked outside to take the trash out, and so the sun's coming from this direction and beating down, but the way the garage sits, there's a streak of shade, and then there's the streak of the light. And as I was coming around to where I was kind of in the middle of the garage door, and I was looking at all the light, was just, you know how you see those little fluffy dust bunnies kind of go through? These were dust cows coming through, and I'm like, is something burning? What the hell is going on? So I stepped around.
Probably all stuff from that tree, maybe?
No, I stepped around the corner, and one of the neighbors down the street was mowing his grass, which is all dead. So it was just this cloud of dust coming from his yard. I'm like,
Yeah, I mean, we had
Trash
some
in the
rain
house.
recently, but everything is just like drying up quick.
Oh, it's so dry.
Um,
Anyway, sorry. Just reminded me of that.
Nate says, "You ever have one of those days where everything seems to go wrong?" Yes. I'll just leave it at that. We have those days. That's my life at this point. Okay. Work your way out of it, my mind. PT says, "I haven't karate chopped over any Citadel paint pots yet."
I don't know how.
Rockfin is, yeah, the Sick Club. Nate, I have some 3D printed paint pots, holders. Yeah, we did some of those, but I actually messed those up. I need to redo those for you.
But
we got the rack holder.
Yeah, but specifically, there's a different design for the Citadel ones. Excuse me.
Oh, where just one pot goes in it?
One pot goes in it. They'll even have some that kind of hook the lid open for you, because if you don't get the lid all the way open, then it just kind of slowly closes. Screw you! I really like Citadel's paints. I love Army Painters paints. I do like Citadel's paints quite a bit, but I despise their pots. I hate them.
I think at first it seemed like a neat idea, but Nate's daughter woke up with a fever. That really sucks.
That sucks. Give her lots of cuddles.
PT has some shark fins they just need to use. Dirt yard. That's right, PT. That's what it seems like right now.
Yeah, and you know, not only dirt yard, but they were mowing it, so it was just okay. I think I'm finally done stirring. And just FYI, I've got a big project going, and I wanted to have all of my colors out and ready for me because I'm going to keep switching around what I'm doing. So in order to do this and have all of my colors out, just from being somebody who paints a lot in general, like especially on canvas, I have an extender. So there you go. Click. And this stuff lasts forever. I don't even remember when I bought this. But it makes the paint stay wet for a long time, much longer than normal. It almost makes, it doesn't make it behave like oil paints, but it's a lot longer. Like acrylic, you brush it on and it's drying up immediately. This makes it behave more like an oil paint, where you have a lot more time to blend and stuff.
But still doesn't take like a month to...
No, it doesn't take like a month to cure. I mean, some oil paintings, they're so thick they can take years to cure. But anyway, so this basically will really help me be able to wet blend while I'm working on the dragon, and be able to move from color to color on my base, because there's a lot of detail on this base that I'd like to get to. So I am going to start, and that also means that I can still thin down my paint with water, and it still will give me a lot of working time on my pieces.
Okay. Nate said he has the ones with the hook for the lid for the pots.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, there's a certain design where it'll actually hold them open.
PT Lowry has exactly those you're talking about, Dawn. Nate also has paint holders for the Army Painter style and Vallejo style paint.
I mean, you guys can go for a little ride. If you get dizzy, look away for a minute. Oh, no.
PT Lowry loves the Reaper pots, but they clog. Ooh.
Yeah. Reaper seems to be the ones that clog the worst for me.
Nate keeps a pin for that.
Yeah.
I think you do too, don't you?
I also have these really spiky tweezers, so I can actually stick it down in there, grab, and pull the whole lid out.
You gave Nate motion sickness.
Sorry. But yeah, I've got a paint rack over there, and then I have a couple of paint racks on my little roll around cart, my second roll around cart, because the first one died. But I am going to start working on this, the details of this, just to catch everyone up with what I did. I painted the whole thing blues and purples, so you'll see those colors kind of popping out from the crevices. And then I dry brushed black and gray and white, just kind of all over the place. And then I splattered those same colors all over to really give it a nice rocky texture. Because it's supposed to be underdark, so that's why I started with blues and purples. So there's an altar here. There's a podium here, there's candles, there's a book, there's a cloth that comes over the altar. I forgot the word for a second. So there's lots to do, and I'm going to get to work on it.
Yeah. This is a commission piece, too, so.
Yes.
Yay.
Yeah.
For those of you that don't know, we also have Alter the Streams. Alter the Streams was chosen for next Saturday, which is going to be the Armored Bat we were talking about earlier. If you use your points now, add to that. You select a color theme or something like that, right, Dawn?
Right, exactly. And also, next Saturday will be our 99th episode, and that means that Sunday will be 100 episodes, and we will be giving away something.
Well, we didn't decide it's going to be...
I think it's going to be that, but that's what I want to say it's going to be. But I'm also happy to, and you must be present on Sunday to win.
Yeah.
I'm also happy to do like what do you call it? A poll and say, do you guys want the painted one or do you want the non-painted
during
one?
Stream?
On like Saturday, do the stream.
Okay.
Or do a poll on Saturday to vote for what one's going to be given away.
That's perfect. So we'll know if we need to do another one or whatever, right? So yeah, on Saturday we'll vote between I want it unpainted, painted. That's the one we'll give away. Whoever wins Saturday, giving away drawing on Sunday.
I know I've got a lot of painters out there, and maybe they would like to just do it themselves, and that's totally an option.
And if they do, then I get to keep it, right?
No. We'll travel to the next convention.
I'm going to switch to dual, so let's watch where we're...
I actually made myself a little box to stay in.
Because you moved the camera, remember?
I just picked it.
Well. Okay, so Skellum Hills. I am not looking at the right thing. I've kind of told you guys where it is. It's on the top of the last L on continent of Miradolal on the map, if you're looking at that on cryptmonkey.net. There we go. So the Skellum Hills, I'll just kind of briefly read what we've got here. It's nearly a mountain range. They're very tall. Just not quite tall enough. Kind of like the Ozarks, they use mountains. Not anymore. But they're still pretty tall in places northern Arkansas and stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
The forest that grows there, though, it's mostly evergreen. So you kind of think of whatever Kethar's version of pine needles is going to be all over the place, right? It's a pretty dark place. So we've talked many times before about, and I'll bring up the map again here. Whenever you look at Mira's Scar here, so like I said, the Skellum Hills is right around this area, and Mira's Scar and the plateau.
Hey, Golden.
Hello, Golden. This area holds back this giant storm that eventually will crowd forge on. This giant storm has been going on for centuries, and it travels around and sort of bounces off the southern tip of the plateau and then travels back east and follows Mira's Scar back north. And then it just keeps repeating the cycle, right? Well, it throws weather over Skellum Hills that Skellum Hills just, oops, sorry, that wasn't too loud. Skellum Hills kind of captures all the dour weather. So it stays pretty dark and gray most of the time. Um, not a place you're not going to be farming in Skellum Hills, certainly, but they do lots of trapping and hunting. Oh,
I was going to say to Nate saying I can't do that with my tweezers because I use them for electronic components. Nate, I have like 15 different pairs of tweezers. Each one has a different job. So I have like 3 or 4 pair that are just for miniatures. I have 3 pair that are for sewing. And like machine. I have 2 pair that are specifically for my embroidery machine maintenance, and they don't move off that machine because they do nothing but that machine. So, but I get it.
so that's the notes that I've written down for Skellum Hills. That I mean, there are some things I already know that don't necessarily they won't help or hurt you. So, Wastam City, I've written nothing down because it's barely been mentioned. All that we mentioned is that one of the characters was in Wastam City and saw a creature in a cage. That's really it. That's all I've talked about Wastam City. So we can do a lot there.
It almost sounds like that immediately makes it seem like it's kind of one of those big market cities, like where you just walk down and there's just pop-ups all along, like that. What's the word? It's like a farmer's market, but it's bizarre.
Okay.
Like just a nonstop bazaar. Sorry, back to start.
Spelled it right. I didn't. But it's onesie.
Bizarre?
Yeah, I mean, I like that. So the reason that it's mentioned is the story, because it doesn't take place in Wastam City. It takes place in the heart of the Skellum Hills, is because this trapper hunter trades. The way he puts it is for about 2 years he'll hunt and he'll trap, and then it takes him about a year to travel down to Wastam City, trade, and come. But yeah, I like that. I mean, it seems to me that lots of people. I mean, if there's a city, obviously, or the law, people are certainly bringing things from other places, trading there. What about sap? Pine trees. This is Rock Fan. Pine trees have a very sticky sap, great natural adhesive. That's a great point. That maybe even people like the trappers are going to sort of add to their income with things like that, right?
Sap flammable as well.
Sure is. Well, certainly ours is. I don't. What we want to do with this. The only saps that we're using currently, we're not using them for an adhesive even. Our kelp forest sap, which is both flammable and water protectant.
Which means if it's on fire and you throw water on it, not gonna put it out.
P.T. Lowry says, definitely sound like my mom with her sewing scissors, hands off, or she'll cut a fool.
I have a green pair of handled scissors. They're for fabric only, and literally anytime I see anybody pick them up, what are you cutting? This piece of paper. No, the hell you're not. Now with those, you will die.
Ghosty says, P.T. Lowry, thank you for the correction. I added an A to bizarre. Golden Ghosty says, so I'm the hills, since they are super gloomy and dark very often. Sure, there'd be a lot more nocturnal creature like the night swarmers active all the time there. So currently we're keeping the night swarmers are like the plain thing, right? So let me get your note. Your point holds. Night swarmers specifically. Switch. I know we have some people on maybe haven't been around for this before. Night swarmers are going to be in this area, just the plain, right? That's the conditions are right for them, right? And since we're out over here, there's still lots of all over Miradolal. There's lots of nocturnal, especially predators. Prey harvest, which going on during the story that takes place in Skellum Hill, is full of those kinds of predators, and they're sleeping during the day and then hunting at night, right? But certainly, I think things like that, Ghosty, that are going to take advantage of tunneling or getting in the trees, maybe, or something like that, and fighting in numbers. Ghosty says, "I like that idea, Dawn. I bet it'd be center for all kinds of trade, including black market stuff. And with its location so close to the hills, it could be a center for illegal trade of dangerous animals." Okay. Think like a kingpin keeping a tiger as a guard dog.
I can see, yeah, it's so think Diagon Alley, and you've got the shady side over there, and then you've got the normal side. So it's that same feeling of, all the reputable. No, it's not going to happen.
What are you trying to say?
Reputable.
Oh, reputable?
Reputable merchants are, in this area. But if you're looking for some shady shit, go down that way.
Rockfan's adding to our pine tree sap. Sap can be a natural hunting trap. That works great for what people are kind of doing in this area. Yes, I'm sorry, I left my phone.
I was like, I'm so not used to that.
I forgot. I fixed it. Rockfan says treasure hunters can find old artifacts and creatures in amber. Oh, wow! So that could even be. I guess you guys probably maybe don't know this, but the treasure hunter career can be specialized in areas too, like tech or medicine. So I can see this being potentially.
Checking to make sure I did turn my sound off.
This could potentially be something that's like another specialization that treasure hunters, as a playable career, there are classes, venturing careers or classes, might play. Is someone who's out there finding, instead of leftover treasure from ancient peoples, they're finding the natural treasures. Fun. Ghosty says, yeah, of course, doesn't have to be night swarmers, but things like that, critters that can't really be in the sun. Yeah. Oh, can't. I kind of like that. Let me. That is we almost have like a vampire critter or something, right?
I like the idea that scientists have discovered that these critters have the disease that their skin will burn. I don't know the name of the disease at the moment.
I can find it. Find that.
But they've done blood tests, and they've confirmed that they literally can't be in the sun at all because of. They have an allergic reaction to, vitamin
sunlight.
D.
Yeah. Lowry says, all the freaks come out at night. You're damn right.
And why the hell are we here in the day?
I don't know. Ragman says, raccoon-like creatures getting into the city's trash. Oh. That could be really interesting. Maybe even the size of raccoons or something, since the city's going to have walls, right? To protect itself from large things from around the hills and in the hills coming into the city. They're going to have their big castling walls going around the whole place. So
I've always thought raccoons should have more hands, though.
Okay. Uh, I like it. Always thought raccoon. Yeah. Gotcha.
And of course, they have they have to keep the washing hands thing. Raccoons wash their hands, They do eat out of the trash.
But they're clean about it.
Clean about it.
Oh, Rockman says owls, they have extra special feathers that let them glide almost completely silent and are apex. Oh, I like that. Our owls will be much larger than owls on shore too. Gonna that for the hills though, rather than the city. Although, that's a good point too. If these guys are predators, chances are they are going to hibernate as well, which means they may be taking part in
prey harvest.
Prey harvest, which means, oh my gosh, you got things coming out of the sky after you during prey harvest too. It's a dangerous time, especially at night, obviously. This shaped round faces also act like radar that carries sounds to their ears. Deadly night hunters. Yeah, that's perfect. Ghosty says we could create a type of creature like a chupacabra, likes to feast on any cattle or anything like that, but it literally can't be in the sun. Yeah, I mean maybe that's you think about this place. It's for longer than humans have been here. Cathar, the storm has been keeping this area dark because the hills just sort of catch all of that gunk in the atmosphere. So things have evolved around there, very much like the storm itself, where things have evolved to stay in the storm. What's that?
Lemurs.
Oh yeah, with the big O eyes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, because that's another thing that's going to happen because of the dark is the big giant eyes.
P.T. Lowry says trash panda infestation. Yeah, exactly. Ghosty says even raccoons have standards for hygiene. Yes, they're clean trash pandas with multiple arms. Don't know how many yet. PT Lowry says, I like the owl idea. Screech owls, especially at night, sound terrifying. So imagine a VW bug sized owl screeching like crazy, snatching people. That's terrifying, right?
So I was thinking, like, yeah, they're big enough they could pick up a small child, and you guys are like, nah, they could pick up a man.
Yeah. Oh, I gotta find. Why did I lose my speed so easily? Had it under. My owls. Go. Did I not get the owl? I feel like I'm going crazy. I'm just like obviously sometimes. Oops. The look right over thing. I skipped my. Oh, I think I was talking about it and I never pasted it in. No. Oh. See, I got the second part of the notes from Rock Fan first. I think that's a good example if I talk too much.
Sorry, I'm reading ahead.
Oh, that's fine. I'm just apologize that. See, I order my notes like this, so when other people add to other people's ideas, I kind of keep that clumped up together. Makes it a little easier to find things. And lots and lots and lots. There we go. Now I can add notes.
He hasn't gotten to it, but PT and Golden, yes and yes. Both of your last comments.
Rockman says, if you ever need animal inspiration, watch the YouTube channel Casual Geographic. Earth is horrific. Okay. Yeah, that keeps coming up on this show too. We talk about the what are the I can't remember it now. The name of the fungus that makes zombies out of ants and stuff.
I don't remember the name of it either, but
we did a lot of talking about it for a while. E2 Lowry says, or even another physical adaptation, some kind of bioluminescence to attract or deter prey.
Yes.
That goes along with the owl thing, right?
Or just another creature it could go to.
Oh, okay. That's a good point. I think the owl, they're going to want to be black against the sky, right?
Yeah, they're going to want to be dark. But I'm thinking, like, poisonous dart frogs. That sort of thought process of these things are so brightly colored, it's warning, don't eat me.
Uh-huh.
So it could, we could have a creature like that is glowing and neon and everything else. And it's so bright, and because it's super, super toxic. Like, maybe even if we touch it, we can get sick.
You're going to have to remember this. I'm like making notes, and I like the way where this is going. This is part of this one, though, you're saying.
Part of the bioluminescent stuff, yeah.
Okay. So it's very bright. Warn, well, you're going to die. To warn other creatures.
Yeah. You eat me or touch me, you're going to get sick if you touch me. You're going to die if you go eat me.
Okay.
I am not worth it.
Right. Ghosty says, the other day I was thinking of endangered predator that is somehow able to control sound waves to make it sound like it's far away when it's actually close. And because it's such a dangerous or strange animal, it was really fiercely hunted. The thing that the farther it sounds, the closer it is. Oh my gosh, that's wonderful. That is absolutely... This is what you were talking about?
Both the bioluminescence and the other thing.
Okay. Yeah, they're both wonderful.
Rock fan, not in my world, honey.
Uh-oh.
My happy bubble. That shit don't exist here.
Are you talking about Teletubbies? Or?
No, Rock fan says there's already birds that pick up small children and pets. We need to go bigger. I'm like...
Thunderbirds?
Well, no, I mean, actually, to Rock fan's point, we have hawks in our area, and our dog is so small that we go out with the dog. I mean, we've got a big fenced-in yard. The dog can just run and play.
Yeah, they wouldn't be able to pick him up and take him, but
they would
they
try.
could hurt him. Yeah,
Yes. So
sometimes they get confused about how big prospective prey is.
So it is definitely a thing, and
we've thought about getting hawk coats that won't let them dig in. You know.
But we'll be outside or whatever, and the dog will be outside goofing off, and I'll see a big shadow, and I just kind of go running in the middle of the yard like, nah, screw you, go away. There's literally a nest in my neighbor's yard.
Okay, so this is like a decision we could make later for development on. The PT adds a great point about secondary. The bioluminescent stuff could also be.
Yeah. Oh,
Oh, that you know what? I'll add the notes here. Excuse me. It could absolutely turn out that way.
What if it's a plant, bioluminescent, and toxic? So some small animals have an immunity to the toxin, so they roll themselves in it.
Okay.
And they glow because they've got the toxin on their skin, but they don't actually produce it. They have to keep going, sort of like a clownfish and a sea anemone. Sea anemone stings the shit out of everything, but a clownfish is like, I don't care. So it protects them. You know what I mean?
I'm gonna say they could roll around in the other creatures too if they're, you know, this is their defense mechanism. They're not gonna like attack you necessarily, right?
Yeah.
So whether it's plant or animal, maybe there are other creatures that are rolling around on them to protect themselves.
But they have to be immune to it, you know?
That's fun. Okay. Yeah, Ghosty says just look at me wrong and you're getting sick. Um, Rockfan says, speaking of light, what if there are creatures attracted to very bright lights? So you careful with campfires or lights. That actually fits in really well, even with the story, because, excuse me, rather than having the walls, the people that live just in cabins in the hills, to mitigate from night predators, they stuff rags in the cracks of their shutters and doors and stuff like that to mask their presence. Works pretty well. So I think that fits right. What's even already been established. What's the thing you were saying not in your world? Or have I gotten to it?
Oh, it was just, I already read it. It was the talking about the birds already picking up
Oh, yes, I'm
small
sorry.
children and stuff.
Rockman says, what if they need to use natural bioluminescent plants as light source? Oh, what if people need to? Is that what we're saying? Glow shrooms? I kind of like that idea. I put for a sec. I dig it. Glow shrooms. Uh oh no, glow flowers were okay, yeah, I like that. Let's see. Lowry says small fey creatures using them as mounts, protection, kind of some symbiotic relationship. Uh, they using and it's kind of more of a sci-fi world, so wouldn't be fey, but maybe some other small creatures have some sort of a relationship like this. I like. If you could fill in my gap because I'm struggling to tie it back up. What are the small creatures using as mounts? Talking about the bioluminescent.
Yeah, I got wrapped up in my candles. I'm using since acrylic paint is much thicker than mini paints mostly. I got some really thick white paint. I'm using it to kind of glob on so that I can add wax that's melted and pooled and stuff. So I was completely distracted.
That's totally. So I'll come back to that one. But talking about what's the other part of the? I do like the idea. Symbiotic relation. Rockman says some have rare color glows and valuable gift. Oh. Maybe even some glowing vines like safety. Ghosty says perhaps hunters and trappers carry glow stick type things to distract these creatures while attracted to light, or even use them to lure them. Oh, that's interesting too, since that's a lot of the people that are sparsed out all over the hills. That's sort of work they do, right? PT Lowry says utilizing their poisons or other natural adaptations, feeding the critter a food source, more or less variously. I think I get it. We're at about 2 creatures. Go on. 2 new ones, I mean. You weren't paying attention again, were you?
I'm enthralled in what I'm doing.
Help at all.
I'm really completely pointless at this moment in time.
Oh, here we go. Right there.
I apologize. I'm going to try to focus. We'll see.
We'll consider this something new. Anyway, we kind of spread these things out anyway to make new out of the ideas. We've had this success with our board games. Like we have one whole board game that came out of ideas that people said they wanted in our other board game. They wouldn't have liked it if we'd have done it. Wasn't right for the game, but we got a whole game out of those ideas. Oh, there we go. Utilizing their poison or other natural adaptations, their advantage, feeding the critter a food source, or more or less very loosely domesticating it. That goblins or kobolds or wood elves or denizens of the wood adapting to. Well, it may not be a sentient creature. I mean, we can still apply these sort of features, right? But right now, we haven't determined if there's anything other than humans that are that level of awareness. You're giving me a look because of the question about the walking cactus.
No.
Because we have said there's a walking cactus creature out of yuck that there may be some questions there whether or not they are sentient. Or you're thinking of other things.
I am, but we haven't discussed that anywhere else, so not saying.
Yeah, I know. So this would be, what would we say? This is like a dark fantasy / sci-fi world. I haven't really talked about this, so I will. Don't have to pull any brushes out because I haven't said it in this stream. Kethar was colonized by people from Earth 3,000 years ago. They were only here for about 25 or 30 years, and this big cataclysm, which, as I mentioned yesterday, we're going to give like a summary version of what the cataclysm, to make it public. It'll be out on Crypt.net. Excuse me. Either
You're
Crypt
all
Monkey.
kind of burpy.
I am. Well, we may even do. Actually, we may do another. We'll release that summarized version to CrowdForgers first, so you'll find a way to access it on Discord when we get done, and then after a little while, we'll put it out on the site. Where was I at? So 3,000 years ago, they landed. Big cataclysm happened that basically pushed the space age race of humans from Earth back to the Stone Age. You may have been a genetic scientist the day before, but now you're trying to figure out how to smith or how to cut wood. They had things like robots that did that sort of stuff for them before. So 3,000 years later, because of the danger of the planet and the size of the planet and the people having been separated for a while, all of these things slowed down their progression. So what took us roughly 2,000 years took them 3,000 years. Now they are currently in like our Victorian era / Old West. That kind of. The planet is populated by really large, not for the most part, a lot of really large, scary creatures. And it's huge. So we describe the distance between one town to the next as time rather than distance. Instead of saying miles, you'll probably say this town is 2 weeks to.
Everywhere.
Once the miles get so high, they start to lose their meaning, I think. Well, there you go. The way I usually describe to people the rough size explanation. Look at this map. This is the eastern edge of the plane. This is the western edge of the plane. And to travel from here to here on foot, which is how you're going to have to do it pretty much. You're going to travel at a relatively slow 5-foot method, is 20 years. 20 years to go from here to here. Big place. So anyway, I'm describing that just so folks understand that we're this game in any case, this world, the story world, at least at this point, doesn't have anything other than humans that we know of for sure that. All right, I've blathered on. And we had a lot of good stuff today. I guess that's the other thing is I'll add everybody that's CrowdForge. Thank you so much. This has been a ton of fun. We use it. I know you haven't seen it all, but there's been several things that have been developed directly from crowdforging, from viewers helping with world building. I'll also add, right now we've got 3 people crowdforging. If we got, say, 2 more people, we'll stop talking about Skellum Hills and we'll go straight on over to the storm that we mentioned earlier. The storm is going to be fun, interesting, dark, scary place for stories, and in game terms, finally put this skin it around a game system is almost going to be like big above ground dungeon. It's got its own environment, its own critters that follow it around inside of the storm. It's going to be fun. Okay. So I like how we started working on Wastam City right away.
Mm-hmm.
So far on Wastam City, it's a pop-up merchant village. Probably going to be some black market stuff going on in there. Lots of trading going on from the hills and the surrounding area. If we end up placing this owl creature this kind of zone, then obviously they're going to need to worry about that, especially during prey harvest, because walls only go so high. Things that can fly in are still dangerous to a city. That the light will burn them are in it. I think I put that in place. Oh no. I put that whole thing. What was that critter that came in the sun? Was that part of the city?
I think was just in general. Like we should have a critter like that is all I was saying.
Well, Ghosty started with the critters that can't really be in the sun, and I put it. Oh, endangered predators, sound waves, that
Yep.
Cobra thing.
I mean, we could put it with that one.
Both of your. They work together, even if they are separate.
I think they work really well together.
Okay, Rockfan says, what if the entrance and trading in the city is by invite only? Ooh, a closed off city. So you have invite only and you have trading permits kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
Ghosty says, I think I was thinking more for the hills, but I didn't hunk it. I think it can really be out there. Gotcha. Well, we'll put it with the under the fauna. I moved it back up near the chupacabra, but when I look at this, I can see that this could be not just even two creatures, but multiple creatures. Maybe there's something with the hills that this disease is
Rampant.
that it's gotten to a lot of creatures that it's almost not a disease, it's an evolution for them now. Rockfan says, like, you need to be connected to get into this black market. Ooh. See, now we're making this little seedier and seedier as we go, huh? I love this process. Because I wasn't thinking that. Dig it. Yeah, I like that. And because it does have its own unique zone of creatures, I can see city is just really trying to control the hills. You know, you trade with us in that way. Other cities who want this fur or this sap material or whatever that really only comes from here, you have to go through us. So it's sort of an invite only, permit only, mafioso run kind of town or something, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. Um, we want to branch out a little bit. Also, so Wastam City's at the southern end of Skellum, northern end of the Skellum Hills. There's various mines, so we can throw minerals in for the end.
I'm looking up a rune.
Oh, okay.
No. Because I have a book, so I have to put something in the book.
Gotcha. See, I didn't. I still scared you. I was like, oh, I'm gonna be nice this time.
Okay. Time to stretch.
Oh, when we get down to eyeballs or something?
I'm going to write a rune in the book.
Oh, I got you. This is what we did for yesterday's dragon silhouette on the back of the Dragonborn.
Yeah. So, gotta take a drink, gotta get stretched.
So the fun thing about going back to the bat next Saturday, Ghosty, points for is getting back into Halloween month.
Yeah.
Gaming in general. Same joy from it during Halloween month, so it's gaming in general. I'm pretty happy, but back to the creepy a bit. Ruffian says they might also have some of the best crops with that rich forest soil. Maybe they have some unique crops because remember that there's not a lot of farming that's going to go on here simply because it's so dark all the time. But then again, maybe just outside of the city, since they're just off the edge of the hills, outside the hills, maybe there's lots of rich farm. Oops. That could be south of the city, not far. Really, they just have to have enough reach to control whatever that area is. Ghosty says, who's to say there aren't plants that grow in the dark? Yeah, absolutely. That's a great, yeah. That is a great point. And it's not like it's dark anyway, and it's just not like bright sunshine like you see behind dawn. It's like gloomy. But if you look at Britain, right, they're gloomy a lot. They grow a great amount of grains and stuff too. Obviously, still a thing either way. But it would be fun if there's something unique too that obviously not Agdal plant, something that great commodity for. Maybe it's how they even got the power to control the area or something off of this grain. Potatoes, good point. Love my potatoes. Not as much as Dawn loves potatoes. I love potatoes.
I'm a potato freak.
Glow potatoes. Potato glotato. Okay, that's potatoes. I have peaked. P.T. Lowry says some super rare lichen or mushroom. That's these are like dark growing plants anyway. Now I'm starting to feel chastised. Maybe it is like a really big farming community, just different kind, right? Chastised and rightly. Uh, Nothing tops the glow in the dark pot. Potato, yeah. Like those blue potatoes, but now they glow in the dark. All right, Dawn.
I'm still writing runes.
Pretty good. Man, I wish we had a better camera.
Yeah, you can't really see that. But I know they're there, and I will post close-up pictures in Discord.
I can try and zoom in if you want. Focus is only. Huh?
Go for it.
See if I can get close. See, okay. That's as close as we can zoom. Focuses. But even from there. All right. Well, what else can we hit? Got any ideas, Dawn? I'm gonna Taffy.
No, I was completely occupied with not breathing while I wrote runes in this tiny little book.
Just holding my breath.
All I was. I'm actually trying to decide what color candles I want. Because I painted them white so that it'd be nice and bright, but I was thinking about giving them a red wax instead of just white wax.
That would be fun too.
But it's also a red dragon.
Do like red, white, and black or something.
The black will blend in. The black will disappear here. So
I see. I probably won't on camera just because it looks lighter than the.
So
it still looks underdark, but okay. I'm gonna leave it to you for a minute while I go start another.
maybe I'll just make all the candles this past green. Shh. Hi, Regina. That one got me pretty good. I stepped away to get coffee. Kind of like how bright and like really that green really stands out here.
Hello, Regina. So Regina says, I remembered you were streaming on a Sunday finally. Yeah. Yeah, next Sunday we're going to do another giveaway because it's going to be, next Sunday will be our 100th episode. I can't believe we've done this many painting crowd forgings. We have. After 100, we're just going to stop marking episode numbers, I think. Yeah, my coffee is going. So, let us see. We started on the city and we got a bunch of stuff in the hills. We can talk about mines and minerals and stuff if anybody's interested in that. Actually, what are you guys interested in? I know sometimes I like focus this in too much, maybe. If there's a trade, you want to talk about anything, right? I mean, is there something you're wanting to talk about, or is that why you're smiling at me?
No, I just.
Are you trying to do the impenetrable stare?
No, I'm trying to not do it. So I'm gonna do the bartender shit.
Now I want a drink.
So I just remembered, well, I'm trying to decide what color to do these candles. I'm like, I have Apothecary White, Citadel contrast paint, which actually has like a really cool blue undertone to it. So, candles. Because it's going to be kind of like a grayish blue color, and I think that's going to be perfect.
Regina says, I miss you on Tuesday night. I know. So, I don't even know how to explain this. We're hoping that we can build the community some more by going at a different time. I know it's kind of starting over for us. And then also, boy, I
It's
like
hard.
being on at nights, but it's hard, when we're working through all that stuff all day, and then I don't know. We'll see what happens in the future, but right now the new setup, because we're on a new OBS setup now and stuff, a lot of things are a little easy going it. Ghosty says, I do have a question that's really unrelated. How are the stalkers so skilled? Are they mostly former military, or how do you think they got so skilled at their craft? Well, there's a couple of things. If you think about it, they're sort of like a 007 thing, right? So one, they're skilled militarily, but also they have a mix of devices that are developed in house. So they have a Q. Was that the guy's name, I think, on 007 who makes the contraptions? So they will specialize in certain contraptions that help them do what they do. And also they're another group who spends money on treasure hunters to find things like tech. Uh, I know you're probably curious specifically about our street level hero, the Golden Ghost, who's a stalker, and he has his hands on some ancient tech. I'll leave it at that for now. Regina says, I'm just so busy on weekends that I won't be at many, but I understand it works better for you too. I mean, the hope is we build up enough of a community that we're streaming more
Right.
eventually, right? So maybe Tuesdays and Wednesdays come back, but we still have Saturdays and Sundays or something. It just really depends on how we can progress.
Yeah.
Ghosty asks, so do you think they get training within the guild? So, like beyond the fancier tech, do they get combat training? Yes, I absolutely think that. I think a lot of them may have started out as soldiers in wars or mercenaries working across the plane or something like that. And that then there's also specialized training where they're just honing it. So you look at most mercenaries is a good example. Soldiers will have been potentially forced into combat and they can get out, they're just done with it. A lot of them. Mercenaries, they're in it for, I'm going to make enough money that I can buy my own arm off of the plane with this one job. And then some are just like, I'm good at this. So maybe they get a note from the non-existent Stalkers Guild because they're not supposed to exist, right? They get a note from the Stalkers Guild invitation. And once they get in there, you've got people who are sharing the knowledge and growing it within that sub guild to just make them really, really good at what they do, whether it's the martial arts, weaponry, and of course, when you look at something like ancient tech, if the Golden Ghost has a piece of ancient tech, that doesn't mean all stalkers have that. Maybe that's probably the only one like that piece of equipment. So, yeah, I think they get lots of specialized training, and then on top of that, I think they get gear that they may all kind of have access to, and then some stalkers get very special equipment. Also, most stalkers aren't like the Golden Ghost. The Golden Ghost, you guys, I'm sure most of you don't know. The Golden Ghost is kind of like he's not Robin Hood. He doesn't. In most cases, he isn't like robbing the rich to give to the poor. But I guess think more like A-Team, where he gets paid, but where most stalkers kind of like a job is a job. I don't really care. Golden Ghost is one of those rare people who's like, I need to feel like I'm helping someone before I accept the job. Most stalkers don't really get that. They're like, I just want the money. Ghosty says, yes, I was thinking about the ghost. Gotta admit, since I read the story, he's been on my mind a lot. I really enjoyed that story. Awesome. Regina says, bless you.
Thank you.
Ghosty says, so without giving too much info out, when you say ancient tech, are you thinking like pre-cataclysm? Yes, absolutely. That is, whenever I say ancient tech, it's a tech that has survived the cataclysm and someone has find it. I kind of think of him as an anti-hero like Deadpool or something, a mercenary, but does good. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't even know. I mean, I think he's maybe just a hero, maybe not even an anti-hero. Well, I guess he's anti-establishment probably, since he'll tell people who are in charge of him, no, I don't want that job. Try and force because he's good at what he does. So they may be like, you're gonna go do this, and then he finds out about the job, and he's like, nah. No way does the Golden Ghost have an iPhone. I would say it's better than an iPhone, especially in a place like Kethel. He kind of hinted at something that he has when he was warning the big boss town, the story that you have read. He gave him a warning that sort of hinted as. You'll find out eventually. I think my coffee's ready. I'm gonna step away again. Enjoy the painting.
I'm painting a cloth. That's it. I'm adding highlights. Yes, sometimes when you're painting, you just completely get lost in what you're doing. That is absolutely what is happening. And my eyes are like watering because I sneezed.
Rockfan says, so he has a Samsung. Okay, I don't disagree with that. Dawn might. Dawn's the iPhone, and I'm the Android person.
To be fair, I'm more of the ask me what kind of phone I have. It worked.
But anyway, yeah. That's we have our Ketha, our Mirror de Law has its really big heroes that you rarely see, but you always hear about. Like Mark is clearly the biggest folk hero level character.
Yeah.
And then there's a couple of others that are like that. And you have calling them the street level heroes. We've got two of them so far. That's the Golden Ghost and Wellfinder Gareth. Very different. Well, very different characters. I've just described the Golden Ghost. He's super skilled. He has some specialized equipment. And Wellfinder Gareth, I mean, he's a well finder. His job is to go out and find wells, usually across the plain, finding the right copses that have wells that can support people as they're traveling across the plain. His street level hero part is that he's just always falling into something that A is like, how in the hell do you even get in that situation? And B, wow, you really got out of that situation, He's successful. So those guys are street level. So the difference between them is that you actually see them, you don't just hear about them. You see them Wellview and Longshore and places like that. Is there water witching? Water witching, you mean like divining rods? Is that another name for divining rods? I heard water witching, I think, but or a lassie around to find the wells. Well, if water witching is like well divining, and I understand the lassie comment certainly.
Well, yes. Lassie never found the wells. Timmy found the wells.
Right, Timmy found the wells. Lassie heard Timmy screaming. Yes. Okay. So yes, and yes to both of those things. Well finders or anyone trying to find underground water will use the well diviner kind of tools, or I'm sorry, rods, the
Dowsing?
divining rods, or
Dining
whatever,
rods? Dowsing rods?
dowsing rods. They'll use something like that, but then they also have these animals which are kind of like squirrels that can fly around, and they're about the size of a cat. They're very domesticatable. A cat or a dog love their owners, but they sense the water, and they'll like do rings around a spot that is closer to the water. For instance, those are called well, their second name is wellfish. That's sort of their common name. I don't remember what are they called, well diviners, or what are they?
I don't remember for sure.
They have another name. But wellfish is what most people call them.
They actually are so domesticatable that wild ones will seek out people. They're very intelligent, and they're like, yeah, if I just go out to this traveler and show up on their porch, either they'll already have one and they'll kick me. It's like, nah, I'm good, or they don't have one and they'll just let me live here and they'll feed me. So cool. They're intelligent enough to recognize that their life can be fairly easy with humans.
I'm pretty sure that was one of the. So hopefully next month we'll get a crowd forger campfire story written from the ideas that came stream. We did 2 streams on coming up with ideas for campfire stories, and I think one of them was that, wasn't it like a Mothman potentially and that sort of thing?
I think so, yeah. Because one of them was I was not well and I wasn't able to participate, so we did it again. Or I know what it was. I wasn't well, so I didn't get to participate. And on top of that, it's also was one where like our stream died, like our internet died.
Oh yeah, our internet was bad or something that day. Terrible.
So we ended up doing it again just to.
Yeah, their actual name is Well Diviner.
Ghosty says, I know it's part of his mystery, but I'm curious, was the ghost bluffing when he said he's always 2 weeks away from the town?
He was not bluffing. And that's the hint, actually, I was talking about. That's something that helps him. Which I'm guessing you were suspicious of that. Maybe this is what Tyler was talking about since you went right there. Yeah, that's the hint I was. I went back to my other notes. Yes, well diviners, they're little, not flying squirrels, but squirrels that actually can fly and hover and have wings. But they're the size of a cat. They're really good at finding underground streams. Helps especially out on the plain whenever the water's there. You got to hit the right spot to be able to not have to dig 1,000-foot deep well, right? Okay. He says, I got it. It's not an iPhone. It's a Ferrari. Yeah. Okay. Gonna end. Section. I'm gonna. And I think at least one of the things they are going to mine, because iron's going to be important, especially since the stage that we're in Mir Dalal is such an age of discovery and adventure and exploration because of those things too. iron is going to be an important. That doesn't mean it's the only thing they're mining here. If people have other ideas,
I think they should mine gold. We've talked about how it's so plentiful, but nobody's actually doing anything with it. It's not even a money source because it's so plentiful. I mean, maybe it is like a promissory note like our dollar bills are. Maybe they make
gold coins just for God we trust sort of idea is what you're saying, because it's super. I mean, it's going to be important. I don't want to say why, but it will be important later.
Right. But for now, I mean, it's one of those things where the material has a bunch of different uses. But we've not talked about anybody mining it at all.
Let's okay, I'm going to say this. They're mining gold maybe, and they're the only one on that's doing it because it's such a plentiful thing, easy to get to, that if a smith needs it or whatever, they may even go out and get it themselves.
Right, exactly.
But there's something that's happened, maybe it has to do with this age of discovery or something like that, that gold is.
So all of my candles, none of them have a flame on them. I want them to have flame on them. So this is basically like green stuff. It's just a different brand I wanted to try out. Procreate putty, that's all it is. But it's a 2-part putty mixed together. So I'm just making some fire.
I'm adding a note that says, adding to your note, that maybe they're doing it for a specialized trade. Needs a lot of it.
Yeah.
No, I like that. Regina says, what about mining a fantasy substance like the fairy dust and pan, which can keep you young? So here's something I haven't touched on in a long time. So first of all, but I haven't touched on this in a long, not ever actually. Something is making human beings live much longer. That has something to do with it. Just the life expectancy for a human being is longer here.
I won't be able to paint these today.
Oh?
No, because this has to cure.
Oh.
But what I'm going to do is just set them on top of my little glue thing. And then I can paint all the flame, and then I can glue them on. But it's super simple. Literally making a worm, making a fat end, then using my tweezers to pull it up. I'm pinching to make it get my fat end back as it. One was too.
Ghosty says, I mean, I don't see why gold couldn't be used for jewelry and stuff. I know it's not going to be like a very valuable jewelry, but it could be used kind of like how we buy rope bracelets and stuff. I think it's absolutely used as cheap jewelry kind of stuff because it's still an easy thing for jewelers to craft, right?
Yeah, so
it's not that it's it has no value. It's just, it's a low value.
What it is here.
Right. And they do have other things that are, like, oh my gosh, they have a blah bracelet. That's worth a lot of money. We've actually developed in the background, and maybe that's what you're.
No, I just, well, I
like our gems that will actually capture the night sky, specialized jewelers who know how to do long process. It has to be prepared for over a long time, and then it's done in one night. Those would be like diamonds. Those would be like expensive gold pieces.
So it makes perfect sense that they would be mining it here, considering it's like the bazaar town, right? So you've got to, a bunch of jewelers here that just make jewelry. You know, it's the craft fair jewelry is what gold's made for, or what they're, you know, one of the things that they're really mining it for.
A note for I still don't think. I mean, gold is it's plentiful enough that it doesn't take much for a jewel. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Industry is what I'm thinking. Somebody's found I know that eventually there's going to be an industry for this, and maybe we will start developing some whatever that burgeoning industry, be a new guild even. Uh, Ghosty suggests they're living longer because they aren't on those dang video games all the time. Might be they're not sitting in a chair, right? They're doing things. I'm trying to remember, we watched a show or something years ago that said the guy walks in the office and this is the most dangerous thing in your office, and it's the chair. Like, this is taking 5 years off of your life right there. Holy crap. Yeah, I like that. I keep, you know what, this is maybe the end for it. I keep thinking eventually as part of this era of invention, they're going to find some use for gold, plentiful or not, as a utility. Maybe this is the place where it starts
Makes sense.
because they're willing to mine it. I think that's part of the problem everywhere else is because it's easy enough to go out and pan for or whatever, pan for it in chunks that a lot of mining companies are going to be like, ah, we need something that we make more per ounce on, you know, that kind of thing. Since these mines are willing to do it north, then that allows this to happen. History.
Couple little fires for later. So I'll let them dry out, and then I will paint them, and then I will glue them onto the candles so they will actually fire. Because I wanted to do, because the way he goes on his stand here is like this. So, like, if I light those candles, they'll actually light up the bottom portion of his leg, and that'll look
Glow effects.
just a real subtle one because the flames won't be all that powerful, but it'd be kind of cool because, like I said, there's flame right here that wouldn't even necessarily reach his hand, but this one right here would definitely light up his leg. And then if I light that one back there, it'll light up this leg. It'll just add a little another dimension to it.
Be cool.
Yep. So pretty happy with that actually. I think I might actually leave this guy alone. Add a little more highlights on this purple.
Oh, while you're doing that, I will mention we have a few other folks on right now that, because we've mentioned this a couple of times, but just so everybody knows, stickers came in for the packets, for CrowdForger packets, and we just need to finish the campfire stories and the postcards that will go with them, and we'll get them shipped out. It's not gonna, but man, if we can get them done next month, I'd love to get them out to everybody before Christmas. You know?
Yeah.
Some of that's just writing it. Some of it is developing the process because we have some neat ideas how we're gonna make the stuff. We'll see how it turns out.
I have very high hopes.
I was also going to say, and Dawn, you can shoot me down.
Bang.
It's quick.
It's fun.
If we haven't gotten enough people crowd forging before, I mean, I certainly hope that we do, but I think if we haven't had enough people crowd forging to work on the storm until we hit 150 Twitch subscribers, or I'm sorry, followers, not subscribers. Then when we do that is when we should work the giveaway. Sure, we'll have a bunch of people. Also, with respect to that, the poll should be out in the next couple of days. We got one more that we're gonna look at for the poll, and then
yeah, I wanted to have it ready to where we could start the poll today, but we'll put the poll in Discord probably this afternoon, actually, because really I've got the ones picked, I think, and it's just a matter of going through and deciding, yes, we're both okay with the
your face. Get Georgie in the shot too.
Hi, Georgie Porgy.
So yeah, we'll have that polls for that pretty soon. You got the first four together like lickety split, and I'm like, those are all. I think this is going to be a vote that people like. I don't know which one.
Yeah, there's some really good choices. That one, like that hurt.
Hello, Sawdust.
Hey, Sawdust. I've got them all figured out of what I want to do. It's just a matter of now we have to both agree, and then if we both agree, then we can get the poll together. But last night, I started working on getting new listings. That's what I was doing. Started doing that, and basically got to the point where I'm like, cool, now I'm going to bed. I'm done. I was so tired.
Ko-fi. We don't have any subscribers on Ko-fi, so we're probably going to remove that guy. And people, if they want to support us, can do it on Patreon. I can't hear you because I'm on a gig and I have to mute my phone, says Sawdust. Hi, anyway, Sawdust. Good to see you, though. You too.
I don't know if you guys can hear that, but I'm
popping your knuckles. Nope, they can't hear it. So where are you at?
The base is done with the exception of I need the fire. I don't even know what time it is.
It's 10 to 1. So if you're at a stopping point, you should probably, unless you're just wanting to hammer through it.
No, I don't really want to because of the fact that the next part of this, I believe what I need to do is the scales going down the belly, and these spikes all need to be onyx, but I don't remember, so I need to look that up because it is a commission. And then like all of these scales are going to be onyx back there. I believe that's what I'm doing next.
Ghosty says, Dawn, how's the Saturn been working? I think that's what the big printer is called.
Nope, the Saturn is my normal printers. The Jupiter is my big printer. It's going really, really well. I'm mostly happy with. I'm extremely happy with it. Right now, I'm not happy with it because I had a failure, and so like getting ready for the stream, I was downstairs. I was stripping all of everything and resetting. And as I realized there was a piece that failed and it stuck to the FEP, I literally just like, because we were streaming, I had to just turn the machine off and walk away because I need to take it off, drain it, and get that off and everything else. So I'm like,
hopefully the FEP's okay.
I'm sure the FEP is okay. It's just, it was one of those, like, in order to drain it, it's like my Saturns, I take the vat and I just kind of, one hand's pouring the vat and one hand's holding the funnel. And with the Jupiter, it's both hands, and I'm still very likely to spill. So it takes a while to drain one of those.
And changing the FEP, there's a few more screws on that big old vat too.
Yeah, so there's a lot to do when I need to change something. So I mean, print quality wise, I couldn't be happier, and workhorse wise, I couldn't be happier. There's a ton of things that this thing is just knocking out of the park for me, and other things that are slightly stressing me out. But in general, no, I'm very happy with it. Much more so than the Anycubic paperweight that I own.
To look at in the next couple days. We have the new motherboard. We just haven't had time to stop and crack open the machine yet to try and replace it.
Right.
Ghosty says, have there been a lot of failures or same as usual? I'd say less because we don't. It's easy to think that way, at least, because we have 9 Saturns. So things happen. But
yeah, well, and if I'm comparing it, apples to apples, one machine, this Saturn versus this Jupiter, I would say that the failure rate is about pretty close to the same, realistically.
It feels like less.
It feels like less, but here's the thing: is at this point, I get failures for a very small, determined problem. Like, it's either the supports weren't good, or there was a scratch on the FEP that didn't allow it to print properly. That's pretty much it. I really don't have failures for any other reason, and I can look at the failure and tell you why it failed pretty quickly. So realistically speaking, the reason I get failures at this point is lack of maintenance. I didn't change the FEP before it needed to be changed, or
getting pretty good about identifying that.
Yeah, or I didn't support it well enough. The other thing that happens is sometimes I'm very tired and I'm resetting and I forget to stir my resin before I start a new print. And I'm not just in there whipping it like crazy. I have a special spatula that I just kind of go back and forth slowly and I'm mixing it. The resin, especially in the morning when it's been sitting for a few hours, you can see
separate.
It starts to separate very, very lightly, but you can see when you stir it, like, oh, you can see this swirl. And I make sure that I stir it, that I don't have that swirl.
It's not hard to reconstitute.
No, absolutely not. It just takes a minute.
In effect, if we leave it separate, it has a clear layer at the top.
The other thing that I see is, like, again, it's one of those things, like, when I have a failure, it's something that I failed. You know what I mean? It's not necessarily, I should leave it there so that it's pretty and you can see it instead of the boring ass screen. It's definitely something that I have failed at doing. I didn't clean it properly. I didn't shake my resin bottle, which I'm starting to shake my resin bottle up here like this because it's a workout, man.
Getting the gun.
I'm working on the guns, man. So it's a lot of different things that could happen, and 99.999999, repeating, the reason it happens is straight up a failure on my maintenance. So, let's see. Oh, the joys of technology. Regina, yes, I agree. Golden, I'm sure fixing failures is much bigger problems on the Saturns or the Mars.
Than the Saturns.
So,
like you said, it's probably the same.
It's about the same.
Less.
No, he's like fixing when I have a failure.
Oh, yes.
So,
I got you.
The thing is I'm much more careful with it because it's such a big thing. A lot of times, like, anybody who's experienced 3D printing, you'll have a piece that just didn't adhere to your plate, so it's stuck to your FEP. There's a lot of times where I can come in with my plastic spatula and I can feel it pop right off the FEP. And so I'll take it out, and everything, and then I'll literally take my fingertips and run it across the FEP and feel for anything rather than just relying on the spatula. Using my fingertip, not gloved hands. Using my fingertips, I can figure out, is there anything that's even questioning? And Ty can attest, I'm like, nope, don't like how that feels. I take it off, I drain it, and I check everything. So that's where my maintenance keeps those massive spills, those big cleanup jobs. That's where that maintenance of
screen protectors,
every freaking which way, man. It's so much cheaper than a screen.
Yeah. And faster to get it cleaned up too.
Yeah, absolutely. Changing the FEP on the Jupiter is definitely takes longer. But it also is also better because, like, on the Saturn and I believe on the Mars, I haven't used my Mars in forever, so I'm not sure. But on the Saturn and the Mars, they both have 2 different size screws. So, and then you have the locking nuts on the 4 corners. So you have 3 different sizes that you have to deal with. And on the Jupiter, it's all the same.
Yep.
So it's one tool, go. So that's actually a little bit easier because you don't have to worry about keeping your screws separate. And it's, I can put all my screws in one thing, clean them all, and put them all back, and I'm done. So it's, yes, there's more of them, but I'd say I can change the Jupiter in about the same amount of time I can change a Saturn. So when this company makes the printers progressively larger,
when they hit,
I can't read it all the way. When they hit
Beetlejuice, you'll need a bigger house.
Yeah,
sawdust.
No, there's actually a 3D printing company that is got a printer so large that they're printing a house.
There's several companies doing that overseas. Australia, New Zealand, France,
yeah,
or Germany.
So I think that regular maintenance on your machine, and by regular I mean depending on how you use it, like ours don't stop running. So my regular maintenance, there is certain things that I do every single time I print. There's certain things I do every single day. There's certain things I do every week. And then every month.
See you later.
Bye, Sawdust. I love you. Then there's, things like, well, if you print, every couple of weeks you have your printer going, then a really big thing is do your print, take your vat, empty it out, clean it up to where there's no residue, and then put it back. Don't leave it sitting with resin in it. You're asking for problems. So it's regular maintenance and understanding supports and how your printer likes supports is a huge difference. And that was a thing that I really liked between the Saturn and the Jupiter was if my supports work on the Saturn, they worked on the Jupiter. I didn't have to change.
Is just super consistent.
That's really what it was. They are super consistent. That. Whereas when I went from support, having this model supported just like this on the Saturn, and I just prints like a freaking workhorse, and then I took that exact same model, supported exact same way, and printed it on the Anycubic, it failed. And I could see that the supports weren't holding on to it. So why is that different? Same resin, same supports, but the Anycubic didn't like it. So I was going to do a rude hand gesture, and I'm just not going
to. Especially since some people are listening. They think that they're being offended.
Yeah, no. So that was unpleasant. And so that's going to be a learning curve for me is testing of, it almost seems like once we get the Anycubic running again, it's going to be less of a workhorse like the other machines are and more of a I need this for this show. I need this for, it'll be more of.
Well, we'll see. We don't know.
I don't know.
I hope it turns around and it works wonderfully.
I do too. I just don't have a lot of faith in it. And I think right. But anywho, I think that's going to be it for today. And we will be back next Saturday when we will be painting the armored version of this
flop
of this guy. And he is currently on the printer now, actually. So we'll get the armored version of this guy. Kissy, kissy, kissy. And
Rockman says he's coming out great.
The dragon, yeah, I'm happy. Like I said, if I add some fire to the base, to the candles, so that I can do a glow effect on him, I'm gonna pretty much be ready to move on to the dragon. But this guy will be next weekend, and we will also be doing a giveaway. And on Saturday, we will vote whether or not you guys are going to get the unpainted or painted version.
Yep.
So be here Saturday to vote for which one you want to be given away, and then be here Sunday to win it.
There you go.
And we will put notes in Discord for all of it.
Yep. And we also have our big poll coming up.
That'll be in Discord, yeah.
Yeah. With that today, probably maybe tomorrow.
It'll probably be this afternoon, honestly, because I think I'm going to go get something to eat. And then I'm going to reset the Jupiter. And then I'm going to do stuff.
Regina said, had fun. I have progress pics to share in Discord shortly. You guys watch for that. Regina's a very good painter.
Yes.
Cool. I think all of our announcements are done.
Yep, and I will put pics of this so you guys can see, because right now you can't see those runes, but they are in there, and they're actually pretty pronounced. So,
Ghosty says, been fun. Have a good one, guys.
Yep, I'm gonna eat.
Thanks for hanging out, everybody.
Do stuff. Bye, guys.